Hello everyone, my name is Steven, and if we've not met yet, I'm a music director. I've been for over a decade, and I've been working with Ableton and leading bands for that period of time. And there's some things that I've discovered of how Ableton works, and so today I want to just go through for both the guys that are on my current team where I lead. I just want to take those guys through exactly what we do, how our tracks are, so that if you guys want to learn and have it as a resource, it's primarily for the guys at my current church. But I'm going to go ahead and load this video up to YouTube because there's a lot of things about our workflow that I feel like are unique. I've watched some of the things that bigger churches have done. I've met MDs at larger churches, and I think there's just a lot of things about our workflow that are really good. That I wish I would have known a while ago. So yeah, I'm going to post this video publicly for those two groups. And I'm basically just going to take you through top to bottom everything that I do to build tracks for a Sunday service. So without further ado, here we go. You see I have Planning Center up over here and Ableton up over here. And so I'm just going to basically first thing, we got to pull up the service of the one that we want to actually use. So in this case, we're building tracks. Well, we got to go back to our main plans tab, and we're going to go to our main files. You see all the files there. We're building for main stage right now, and we're building for June 14th. So I'm going to click on that one right there, June 14th. And then we can just scroll down and see all the songs that exist for the service. There's a bunch of pre-service stuff that happens right there. Basically, we got first song. You can see the songs clearly because it has the key listed right there. The first song is Thank God I'm Free in the key of E. Life is Better in the key of D. Gratitude in the key of E. And then Who Else in the key of A flat. So first thing we're going to do is just think through if that makes sense, if everything looks good with the set, if there's anything that needs to be changed. I think in this case, this set has been discussed with our leaders. The set is good to go. We can scroll down and see that our vocal team is confirmed there and our band team is confirmed here. So we have the team ready to go that we need. We have the songs. Of course, we'll want to make sure that we have all of those songs available. I used to say look in the files, but I've actually got a better way that this is set up now that I'm going to show you guys. So if we go back down to Ableton, I just have some random service. This is 6/7 service. So this coming weekend, but we're building for 2 weekends out. So I'm going to come over here. And you see right there, I go files, or file, and then open recent set. And you can see a whole bunch of services, but we've not started one for that yet. So this is the first really cool thing that I think is very helpful. I have what's called a master song list. So we're going to go to the master song list. Sure, we can save that. I don't even know if anything was done for that. So we got our master song list here. If we zoom all the way out, you can see we have a bunch of songs. And they're all in there. They're separated out by all of our, so reference things go up top, or click on our guide, and if we have any MIDI cues, that kind of thing, or sections, I label sections there. We have all of our band instruments here. We have the EG files here, electric guitar. We have keys. Each one of these function under a group or a bus. And then got all your keys files, you got your percussion files, and then you got your vocals. The reason I separate them out is because they kind of function together in those ways. We use a audio interface called Play Audio, which runs through a software called Oracle. For the guys at my church, I'm going to show you later how to actually set this up for what you would do on an actual rehearsal or service. It's not plugged in right now, so it's not going to say anything. But yeah, Oracle's the software that runs that. And so with that, we have multiple outputs. So our click runs through channel 1. Our guide runs through, I don't know why it says 1 right now. It's normally runs through 2. Our band is only as a reference, so we can keep that one out. Our EG runs through 3 and 4, keys through 5 and 6. percussion through channels 7 and 8. So those are all stereo channels, and vocals we generally keep out. Now, right now as we're listening to it, I'll keep everything in because it makes a nice reference track. When we finish this process, I'll upload everything to Planning Center so people can see exactly how the songs are going to sound and all those things. So anyway, yep, this is the secret, is that you have everything already loaded in the way. So if you make a change that you know we're always going to play the song in this particular way, then you change it up in that way. And you can see some of the songs I've labeled sections. When you zoom in, you can see choruses and verses and stuff like that labeled. Truthfully, the reason I haven't labeled more of them is because generally I'm the one running the tracks for my church, and I know these songs pretty forward and back, so I know where the sections are. If I had volunteers running it more often, or people that were just less familiar with it, I would really recommend going ahead and labeling all of these. The way that I do this is simply to select a region and then right click, insert empty MIDI region, and then if you hit Command R on your keyboard, then you just type the section name. For example, if you want to call that the chorus, and you can rename the color as well by right-clicking and selecting whatever color you feel like. So that's a nice way to do it. I'm going to delete that for now because you can see right there the song Praise. Anyway, getting back to this week's actual service, the first song we got is Thank God I'm Free. So again, this is where if it's your template, you know where the things live. If it's someone else's template, you may have to search through a little bit. The way that I did this at first when I was setting this up, I put all my fast songs at the beginning. So you see I got I Thank God, Praise, Life is Better is one of our original songs, but that's a faster song, The Joy, and so on. A bunch of songs here, so I'm going to open that. But as we added newer songs more recently, I've just thrown them in at the end of the file just because it's a little bit cleaner. So Thank God I'm Free is one of our newer songs, and so you can see that one right there. So that'll be our first one. Of course, before I get into that, the important step is you don't want to save over your file. This is our master song list, so you're going to hit Save Live Set As. And then, I don't want to get too creative, we just call it that weekend. So confirming here, it's 6-14, and so I just call it 6-14. The nice thing about that is you can kind of always see what things are. For me, if they're like special services, sometimes I'll call them whatever they are there. But for example, you see the one there that says graduation. This is 6-14, that's 6-7, just so we can find them easily. So I hit save. Okay. And then Thank God I'm Free. So you can see right there, it says Thank God I'm Free -community, because our church is called Community Church. And so that's our version of it. This is Thank God I'm Free. That's the whole arrangement of the song. But we like to make sort of our own arrangements of songs. So that's right there. As a matter of fact, that's not the Community Church version. So this is where at truth I have to update my master file. So we're going to go out. So then you have to think of when's the last time that we did this song. I believe we did this song on 5/31, and you see it right there. Thank God I'm Free. So what I'm going to do, and this is one thing that you'll want to do to take songs, is just if you select the region that it is with Command and click, or Shift and click rather. So click at the beginning, hold Shift, and then click at the end. If you're in automation mode, so this is the key thing here, if you're not in automation mode, then it does not work. But in automation mode, then you go Edit, Cut Time. You can hit Command Z to put it back. It will still have it cut. You can File, Open Recent Set. Go to the master song list here. Don't save. And then now we'll scroll to the very end of our file. So scrolling all the way over. And then I'm going to paste it right there. Edit, Paste Time. And then it'll have it, I'll paste it in. And the reason that worked is because we went cut time, not just copy. You need to go cut time, and you need to do it when automation mode is on, so that it actually has the BPM placed in the correct BPM. Otherwise, all these files would go all over the place. So I'm going to hit L to add a locator. That's not native to Ableton. I made that under key shortcuts. You can add your own shortcuts. And so, yeah, I made one for add locator right there for the button L. So I like that. It's helpful for me. Command R to rename, and we're going to call this Thank God I'm Free, TGIF. We can call that community as well, because that's our version of it. Community. Okay, good. So this is why you should always make sure that you have the versions that you need first. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out of here. You just go edit cut time is the easiest way to just get rid of everything that was right there. And so this is Thank God I'm Free. We can call this full. So I just Command R to rename on there. This Thank God I'm Free. This is the community church version. And you can see it's got the sections labeled. It's got all the things on there. So that's all good now. So I'm going to hit save to save our master song list. So now Thank God I'm Free, the correct version is going to be right there. And then, so we'll just go ahead and do this again. File save as. We're going to call it 614. We're going to save right over that one. We're going to hit, yep, replace. Because we're just going to start that process again a little bit. So now on 614, we know this is our first song. So the thing that I always do, just so it's clear, I go Command R and I hit the number 1. We can get rid of community because this is just what Thank God I'm Free is this week. And then I hit the key button. So key is how you assign key shortcuts. And I hit that, click on that arrow right there. You see, we want to launch up that arrow. You see it'll turn a slightly different whitish color. Hit 1 on that. And yes, I'm sure I want to do that. Then you see now whenever you hit the button 1, it shows up there. The reason that I put the number 1 right here is just so that you know that that's a shortcut for it. So I'll always put if there's a shortcut there, whatever number, letter, whatever that is. So now it says 1, TGIF. Okay, thank you, Lord. I'm going to delete that extra thing there. I don't know why it's there. But we got Thank God I'm Free, and you can hear it here.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
And it's our version that we've already made. You can look and see right here, like there's some extra guide that happens in there. There's one less guide that happens right there. There's just some changes at the end of the song. We shortened the song down. You can see it's been shortened. So, yep, so that's the first song, Thank God I'm Free. Not bad. We're going to hit the save button, and we're going to hop back on over to, oh, it's going to think for a second. We're going to hop on back over to our planning center. It says Thank God I'm Free. Key of E, which we can confirm.
Post chorus.
That's that key, that's E. If you don't have perfect pitch, then you can pull up a keyboard or something like that. Window, musical typing, and I see in that key, so that's actually the key of E flat that one is in. So now we're going to take everything. So if a song needs to be transposed, we got to definitely make sure that it's in the right key. So I'm going to select everything here. So this is transposing. So you got to hit warp. And then I put in Complex Pro for everything. I used to play around with some different settings, but I found Complex Pro is actually the best for everything. And then we're going to put everything in, well, hold on. We're going to see what it actually is right now. It's on -1 right now to take us to E flat. The original key of this is E anyway. So by the time you take that back to 0, then we've got the original key of it. We can confirm that.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
And you can see right there, that is in fact the key of E. So we're all good on Thank God I'm Free. Save live set and hop back over to Google Chrome to see our planning center. Thank God I'm Free, all good to go. You can always see if there's any notes here. Reese is going to welcome people, but that doesn't change anything about the tracks. It's always good to see what you're doing there. After that, we're going to a welcome, and we'll see if there's any specific notes in our welcome. Nothing too much in particular. So we'll come back to the welcome in a moment. I see that there is a video right here. You guys see that? There's a countdown video. There's a creative video happening. So we're going to leave some space in there for that to switch. Now, Life is Better is our next song. This is an original song for our church. And I see that it says graduation, intro, arrangement, end with a down chorus. So this is one we're going to definitely cut up a little bit. The other thing you can do if you know something has happened at a particular service, and we just saved this so we're good, it said the graduation arrangement. So cool, we can go down and pull up graduation right there, just like we pulled from our other file earlier. And I see right there, number 1, you see Life is Better labeled right there. And so all you're going to do is take this from there. I have the song Washed pull up right there, but usually that starts with the counting. Can you see the guide right here? Goes intro, 2, 3, whatever. So we're going to cut it all the way from there And same thing as before, you're gonna hit that A button to get in an automation mode. You're gonna go edit, cut time. You can go Command Z just to be safe. And go ahead and open back up that 614 file. No, don't save the changes. We were just taking something from you. We weren't trying to change you. And then you see we got all these files in here. If you ever need them, you can just leave them up. It's kind of convenient if Pastor says, hey, we need such and such a song, then you already have it right there. We can go ahead and go edit paste time. And you see that whole crazy arrangement of Life is Better is pasted in there. And you can see files are all over the place. This is part of the process of how we really get stuff to be what we want it to be, which is pretty nice. Sometimes these things still load. I found if you just double click on them, they start to load. That's kind of nice. It does seem there's a missing cue right there, so I'll show you guys also how to add our own cues. Oh, now hold on a second. We're going to Command Z this. Reason being, we're going to go back to automation mode, and then we're going to edit paste time. You know, sometimes it gives me this glitch, and I'm not exactly sure about that. So I know Life is Better, we recorded that at 75, so I'm going to hit that record button, go right over here, click on that, type in 75, enter, and you see right here, we're having a new section. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. I'm going to take that dot out right there. Now you see everything right there. Since 75 BPM, L to add a locator just like before. We're going to call this 2-Life is Better. And then we're going to go ahead and edit paste time now. Oops, my Life is Better ran away. So I'm going to put it right back over there. And now you see the song's actually in 74. Everything is lined up.
Chorus, drums.
Line it up with the actual grid now.
Verse, drums in.
You know, it's kind of in 75. It's kind of in 150. You know, you can always go double or half. I'm going to hit this click. And to me, that sounds good. If it was I think that would feel like a lot for this song because it's kind of, the song is a little bit of a halftime feel. 3, and 4. So even though it's an upbeat song, it's more the halftime feel. I'm going to take that A button again. I like to live not in automation mode. You see how that just kind of gets sloppy? There's just a lot happening there. So I live outside of this. So again, going back to Planning Center, we can see that this is the graduation intro, which started with drums.
3, 4.
So take my click back out. This is the click we run, by the way, right there, the native Ableton one. We have this in here as well. If you want to run that click.
Chorus, drums.
And then we're doing that. And then this is not Anna and Emma. That was just from graduation, so we can take that out. That was a unique thing just for that. And then we have our verses right there, although you could call them verse, I suppose. We could put that back and Command R to rename a section. You call this verse 1. Command R, you can call that verse 2. Okay. And again, this is our youth sort of running this service. Oh, I don't think I said this. This is our youth running this service, so it's probably helpful for me to have a few more things in there anyway. So maybe I'll go ahead and I just Command V that right there. I'm going to call that chorus 1, or just chorus. It's not the big a deal, I feel like. And just put a different color. It's not super big deal. Copy, Command C, Command V, Command R to rename. We can call this intro. We'll put that in another new color just so you can visually see that that's something different. Okay, and so then we got, now I know the one thing they said from graduation, I was told this isn't in Planning Center, so if you get told stuff, then you know that's that too.
Chorus, break.
We had a breakdown chorus right here with the acoustic guitar. However, they said they don't want the acoustic guitar thing. Everything else they want the same, so we're going to go edit, cut time, and we're going to put
Chorus, break.
That's where we're at. And then to be honest though, from the graduation arrangement, like it was kind of really down there. So you hear those drums like seem to not quite match.
Break.
Yeah, they're just kind of very down. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the thing, a lot of information lives in these files here. So you can see right here, if I solo the drum track with that S button, that we have the actual drum part from that chorus originally. So I'm going to go E, Command E to separate it. I'm just going to pull that over to, you can physically see right here where the chorus starts, or rather right here. You can physically see the new section is starting. Although if we had labeled here, let's go Command C to copy that, Command V to paste it right there. Now we got the actual drum part of the song in our chorus. We can see where the chorus finishes right here. And so I'm going to go Command E, and we're just going to copy, or I'll just actually drag it out because it does go twice normally. And that way I got my nice, you see where the cymbal just solo that drums again. Cymbal just ends there naturally anyway. So that's a good transition. And then let's listen to it with everything.
Chorus, break.
And that sounds like it fits the vibe of the song a lot better. So we're going to go with that. Hit the chorus right there, put it over there. I'm not sure if we're going to do alt chords for this context or not, so we can play around with that. You see right there in the bass, you can see I edited something. So, which simply, this is kind of cool. You see I just did a -3 right there in the pitch. So I edit the parts sometimes without having to re-record them myself. I just put it a -3, so it takes us down to the 6th chord right there, which is kind of helpful.
Chorus, break.
You see right there, it's got a break cue, but that's clearly not what's happening there. So what we're going to do is delete that cue, and then under my Finder, I keep everything. If we pull up the desktop, under desktop, you can see some various things. Wow, way too many things that don't need to be there. So I'm going to clear this out real quick. Delete that. That's what it should look like. Wait, put run under. That's one of our new songs, so it just showed up. So anyway, I got my Ableton guide, tracks, whatever, basic stuff. So under guide, I have some different ones that I've made, but the multi-tracks guide right there. And I like doing the guides myself. Sometimes they should be different things based on the service, but ultimately you just want to serve your team well with the guide. You want to set them up for success because it shouldn't just be what it naturally is. It should be what makes actual sense to your team and their language and what they need. So in this case, that's going to be an all-in cue. So we're going to go
Chorus, all in.
Yep. And if you want to be very particular, these are little details that help, but you see the click is right here. Right, but the in is just barely behind it. So one thing that I'll do sometimes is hit that warp button, and then I will either speed up or slow down just a little bit, and then you see boom. Oh, I almost had it. Boom right there. Do you see how that lines up right there? Now we go. And it still sounds relatively natural, but it's on your beat. So
chorus, all in.
So all in versus being all in, you know, it just helps the team to be, nobody notices it, but they feel it.
Chorus, all in.
So that's just like small details that I sometimes look at. I just delete that extra because then it's clean. There's no particular reason to delete that. I just made that just to show you guys where we're at. Okay, so that's our chorus all in. And looking back over at our planning center, it does say end with a down chorus.
Bridge, 2, 3.
And clearly we're not doing a bridge right there, so we're going to delete that. And we're going to see if we have a down chorus anywhere. I'm not sure if we have. So let's look over here, because if you remember, we saw Life is Better over here earlier. Okay, and so Life is Better. I know the song ends with a down chorus somewhere.
Breakdown.
Who is better? Let's put our vocals back in. There's our vocals. That's our team, by the way. They sound amazing all the time. Our vocalists, so good, so talented. Okay, so I'm going to just take that ending right there. You see where the song ends. It breaks down. We're going to go all the way back over. I wish I had labeled Life is Better. Let's put that 2 button. So next time I need to jump there, you see that 2. You see why it's helpful. Yes, I'm sure I want to. Go back out of key mode. Okay. And then we're going to put that breakdown at the end of this right here. And just boom, right there. Who is better? Oh, yeah. Let's put that bass up. You see I got some bass deactivated, and then we got that one right there. So just put that up so it's on the same channel. There's a, I forgot there's a piano lead. I recorded this part myself. You'd think I'd know. Yeah. So anyway, you can put that back in there because I think it fits the vibe more now. It didn't fit Graduation as much, but it works for that. What is that? Is there anything there? You can always solo tracks. If you're like, why is something here? You can always go. Literally, it's nothing. So we're going to delete that. There's no reason for that. And then let's see. And who knows why that's off, but you know, you can see physically where it starts, and if you know your song and you know it starts in the 1, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4 and life. So I don't know. You just gotta know your song. If you use this click, then you want to make sure you drag that out, or if you ran out of space on that, you just Command C, Command V. Like I said, for us, we use this click up here anyway, so even if that click wasn't there, it wouldn't be a big deal. Although I try to generally leave it in just as a backup plan if you ever need to use your audio click instead of your Ableton click. I've never really needed to, but there's certainly some use cases why you might need to. So anyway, now we got a verse, chorus, intro, chorus, verse, verse, chorus, chorus, and then let's copy that. And then we have a down chorus here. So Command R to rename, and down, we'll call it down chorus right there. And we'll leave it the same color because it also is a chorus. So I think that should be pretty good. I think that's the arrangement we're looking for. Hit that save button. And then this is an arrangement that we haven't necessarily done this exact arrangement before. So one thing that we do at our church, and I think a lot of churches do this, is we schedule out Planning Center by the times, and so it's on us to get the length of the song. You see it says 0 right now. Obviously the song is not 0 seconds. So we're going to select where the song starts. You see everything before there is just a count-in. So the song starts right there at the actual intro, and it finishes at that down chorus. You can see where the vocals stop right there anyway. And if you select that region, then you look down, down at the bottom of your page, and it says duration 129.6. So we'll round that up to 130. And then go to Google Chrome, and Life is Better, we'll call it 1 minute, 30 seconds. Pretty short version of this song this particular week. But that's what it is right there. 1 minute 30, it says Anna's leading that song. So we already got Thank God I'm Free, we got Life is Better. Boom, 2 songs completed. And key, 1 is good, 2 is good. You can always hit that save button just to keep it rolling. Oh, we've already saved. We're good, okay. So back to Planning Center again. We got Gratitude next. So let's see where this song exists in this file. So there's Gratitude right there, and there's Gratitude Live. So then you gotta make a decision. You can go over here. If there's any notes that say it's got to be the live version, it's got to be. In this case, nobody said that, but there is. Let's always read this. Scripture transition into Gratitude. Pastor Micah to deliver. So now we got to figure out if that's a looping thing. Or if that's, I was told, and sometimes you get told stuff, sometimes it's written in there, but I was told that it's probably about 20 seconds, I believe. Let's see, I took a note. Let me check it on my phone. 25 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds is what I was told. However, sometimes you can also just do what's called a looping click. It just goes around in circles. You know, let's listen to both these intros and just see which one probably makes more sense for us. Let's take that click back out. That's Gratitude. You hear just the acoustic guitar. Let's try this one. And obviously a lot more going on with this one. So this could be maybe more of one that might work.
Break. Interlude. 4, 5, 6.
That live version definitely has some cool things going on with it. And you kind of got to know your team, because our teams, I don't know, they've played both, I believe. I don't know if there's one that strongly needs to happen versus the other one. I think we're more familiar with this one. What key is that? That's a key of F right now. You can hear it doesn't sound super high fidelity. This one's B flat. I believe that's the original key of that particular recording. I think this one's in B, and since it's been transposed so far to F, that's just the downside of doing your songs in different keys than the original, is it can sound kind of a little bit sloppy. You hear it? You know, this doesn't sound real clean. And it's just, you know, through these little speakers right now, but when you hear it in the actual house, it'll be amplified how not clean that sounds. So there's ways we can work around that. Anyway, it's Gratitude in the key of E. So we're gonna have to decide what we want to do with this. In this case, I think that using this version might be the best. It's currently in the key of F, like we just discussed. So let's take everything here. If you know your music theory, here, pull up that piano again. F and E are right next to each other. So we're going to hit a -1. So we're going to warp everything, put it on Complex Pro again, hit that -1, and hit Enter or Return, whatever you have on your keyboard. And then you can listen to it and hear that that's the key of E. So we're good there. That's Gratitude. And then, oh, I know the other thing that I recommend doing on here is calling it E. I find that helpful. Anyway, we're going to take this out of here anyway. So remember, A button to put it on automation. It's not Command A, just regular A. Edit, cut time, Command Z, just to put it back. You never know when you might need it again. We're going to put it at the very end of our file. Edit, paste time, hit the L for locator, hit the Command R. I will call it 3, Gratitude, and then in parentheses I put key of E. I always recommend putting the key in there too. You never know when your MD is looking at the tracks. And this particular week is one of the few weeks I'm actually not on, so I definitely want to make sure that they are good. So you never know when you like just forget, what key are we doing the song in this week? You can look down and see, oh yeah, key of E, and then you can say in the mic for your whole team to see, yep, we're doing Gratitude in the key of E, and they know. So back out of automation mode.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
One thing, okay, well, we're going to get to transitions. So that's a whole big thing that we do is transitions. Let's just keep rolling for now. So,
Chorus 1.
So one thing you'll hear, there's not a whole lot going on to begin the song. And so I want to steal the piano intro, if I can find where Gratitude was. There it is. I want to steal the piano intro from the live version, because if you hear that, it's very nice. You hear that? Isn't that so nice? Matter of fact, I might just steal all that piano part. So of course, it's in beats. I don't know why it's in beats. Always Complex Pro, it messes up a lot less. You gotta make sure that your BPM's the same. So that's 78. We'll see in a minute. Command C, put it back over here, and then we're gonna put it back at the beginning of our song. I forgot where I went from. Ooh, what did I do? Come back to Gratitude. I must have just copied something more than that. Okay, so we're gonna copy that. Okay, I definitely just copied just that file. Command C to copy. Go back to the end of the file. Put it at the very beginning, Command V, and you see, you can physically see where that audio file starts, where the count-in ends. So you see I lined it up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now, you're gonna hear how awful that sounds. So if you remember, that's in the key of B flat. This is in the key of E, which by the way is tritones if you don't know. So that's as awful as it can be. So we gotta go 6 steps, either up or down. It's the same direction, both. In this case, I think this particular riff here, right here, is going to sound better up than down in my personal opinion. So I'm going to hit the 6 button, and you can hear how not good that sounds. Now granted, our piano is not going to be in the house, it's just as a reference for our keyboard player, but one thing you can play with when stuff doesn't sound good is your formants and your envelope. So I found when it sounds all weird like that, you can put your formants and envelope to the very bottom. It starts to sound more open, especially the envelope. You hear how like filtered that gets right there? So I just play with it, hear what sounds good. Again, this is just a reference track, so it's not super important. But now when you listen to that with the acoustic guitar,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
then you have something actually going on with this.
Verse 1.
So that's where the verse 1 starts, and you gotta think it goes verse 1, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes I'll take this. You see that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And I'll put it right here. So it'll be like verse 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what I do for our vocalists is I go, I think about where the song starts, because it goes all my words. So it goes verse 2, 3, 4, all my words. They sing on 5, 6. So I'm gonna hit that 0 button, just in case you never know when a vocalist is gonna go, can you give me that 5 and 6 back? And then I can just hit that 0 button. It's already right there. The 0 button deactivates a clip without deleting it. See 0 back and forth. So I'll deactivate it, because then you can get verse 2, 3, 4, all my words fall short. And I've just found that really sets the vocalist up well. So really, we start singing right there, not just right there, not right there. We start on this exact spot there. So I'm gonna go, and all this is counting before, so right there is our actual intro right now. And you see right there, it's about 18 seconds, which is going to be shorter than was actually requested. So we're going to see if we either, I don't know, if I want to put it on it, because this is our students. With our adults, we could put it sometimes on a looping click, and I'll show you how we do that. But I'm thinking this one, we may end up wanting it. I don't know. It could go either way. We'll see what ends up happening. Some things you need to get the best you can anyway for before, and then in rehearsal, you'll just see what actually works better. So anyway, that's that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, that's speaking there, and then verse is going to be over here.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
All my words fall short. Cool, and then let's just continue forward, see what this is, because you remember we had 2 different versions, so we got to see if this makes sense. Again, you can check gratitude. Do we have any particular notes? No, not really, so we're kind of free to make this version what we want it to be.
Chorus. All in.
Cool.
Vamp.
We hear the chorus. The
Vamp.
vamp.
Bridge. Slowly build.
Remember that piano I took from the live version? So it's definitely a little bit different. So truthfully, I'm not sure that fits as much right there. So I'm going to put back to the other
Bridge.
piano.
Drums in.
So we'll leave the live piano for first half. Again, this is just, we don't run that live in the house. That's just a reference for our keyboard player. So just whatever feels right. Okay, you can see it builds up right here. Cool, and then you can see we got a big breakdown right there. So I like to figure out how many times the interlude is, and is it something that's going to be intuitive for our team. So this is the whole thing of the interlude right there, what I just made that clip for. You saw I said insert into clip. And down at the bottom left hand of your corner of your screen, you're going to see that's 20 measures. Well, 20 if you're a math person is not a nicely evenly divisible thing. So you go, you can separate out. You see 1, 2, 3, 4 measures there. Another 4 measures. So that's 2 groups of 4. That's 3 groups of 4. That's 4 groups of 4. And then that's 5 groups of 4. And what I found is it doesn't matter what they did in the live thing. If you do 5 groups of 4, no one's going to feel that out. It's going to feel weird for everybody on your team. 4 groups of 4 is always going to feel more natural for them. So what I do is I will delete one that makes sense to be deleted. In this case, you can see how these drums are more intense. The rest of it is kind of physically across the same without even listening to it, right? We could listen and by solo. You hear where that one is. Versus you can see right here, the drums start to pick up. That snare is sort of doubling, especially in that measure there. So we don't want to get rid of that one, but I think this one right here could be a candidate to get rid of. You see right there, I just selected 4, so that's not what you want. Oh, yeah, sorry, it said 3, but it was 4. I confused myself. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can count them physically. There's 4 measures there. Ableton, I've found, gets a little confused with 6/8 sometimes because it's telling me it's a length of 3 measures at the bottom left here. So anyway, we'll go edit, cut time, and then now you can see physically that there's 1, 2, 3, 4. The way I counted those is between these guides. You see the guide there, there, and there. So you got 4 separate sections of guides. And so that's that. And then you may even want to separate them out. Remember Command E to separate out a clip. Let's put that to there, and then put that to there. And then you could say interlude 1. And then, well, we'll just copy paste these. Interlude, now they all say interlude 1, but they're about to Command R, call it 2, Command R, call it 3, Command R, call it 4. Okay, so now when you physically see it, you can see that there's 4 interludes. You may even want to Command R, put specific dynamic cues. For example, build. I'll put it in all caps so they don't get shy on me. Come on. So that last one is a big build. You can see it with the drums physically right there. You can look at the waveforms and literally just see what's happening before you even listen to it. I find that helpful. Anyway, the same thing with the bridge. So you can physically see the guide is counted in. You can see the drums change right there. So we're going to paste right there, and the bridge is twice as long as each interlude. So we'll Command R. We call that bridge 3. I just happen to know that's bridge 3. Let's change the color of it to something else. I don't know. You know, if you're a color person, you can definitely make your colors whatever you feel like. For me, I like doing the neutrals on this whole file so they kind of blend in. But then these, I don't know, I just decided to put them bold so you can really see them. So bridge, there's another bridge, there's another bridge. If you don't know that, like I know that, you can just hit spacebar on this guide.
Bridge.
You hear that says bridge,
Bridge.
and that says bridge,
Bridge.
and that also says bridge. And you can physically look. I find the drums are the easiest thing to tell. So you see right there, you barely see anything. They're just some little symbols. If you can't tell that, hit solo. I don't know if you can hear that. So there's some real light. That's the left foot on the hi-hat along with some cymbals on the ride, just real light. Anyway, and that's, by the way, I'm not a drummer at all, and that's part of the way that I'm able to MD well with drums. I can physically look and see what's happening on there. I read the waveforms, and then I can tell a drummer. So anyway, Command R, we'll call that bridge 1. Command R, we'll call that bridge 2. Okay, and then bridge 3. So you got all that. We got interludes. This is going to be a vamp. So I'll put all my instrumentals the same color. We'll call that vamp.
Vamp.
If I can type, wow. So it's a vamp and then bridge and whatever. At this point, so we always end our worship sets, and every church is different, but at Community Church, we end with a close of worship, which is often free-flowing worship, stuff like that. So, and we never do, like, if there's a 10-minute version of the song, let's see how long this is. So if I highlight all of it, read at the bottom left, yeah, you see it's 8:55, so about 9 minutes long. We don't really do the 9-minute version. If we end up on a song for 9 minutes, it's because we flowed our way there. We don't plan to do that. So you see right
Chorus
there
2.
is where it goes
Softly.
chorus 2. So that's right there where I want to go ahead and cut time everything else out of here. Edit, cut time. Okay. I don't know what it's random 4/4. We're going to live in 6/8 still. So we deleted that. And then right there, now what you don't want to have
Chorus
happen,
2.
this is what happens right now.
Softly.
See how it just hard cuts off? We don't want that to happen. So when we're in this mode, not automation mode, it won't work in automation mode, but if you're in just standard mode, you can grab that little dot right there and fade it out. So nice. Anything that is still going can be faded. Now you don't need to blindly fade everything, right? Like if a track's already gone like that, then cool. This one's just a pad. You hear that one? So I might even, does it change chords? See, it doesn't even change chords. It just hangs on a 1 chord, so I might make that very gradually fade out over time. The strings you see are already faded out. I think they are. Sometimes these little tiny waveforms get me. You can hit that solo button. Yep, there's nothing still on there. It looks like we got everything, so let's unsolo that one.
Breakdown.
And I kind of want them to hang for the vamp right there. And then...
Chorus 2. Softly.
And then at that point, then we're on to the next. So that's our little worship moment. That's going to be the close of the song. I'm going to give them a click right there. So we'll hit that L button. So this is one thing I haven't showed you guys yet, how to make a looping click. So Command R. And we're going to hit, here's how I do these. So if I'm adding a click to go with the song, I'll do the button that's right underneath it. So the Q button, if you look at your keyboard, Q is right underneath 1, W is right underneath 2, and E is right underneath 3. So I just call that E. And so that'll let you know that if I want to cue that up, then I just hit the button E. Okay, so now we're anywhere else, E. Okay, so that currently doesn't loop or anything like that, right? If you turn our click on, there is a click associated with that, so that's good. What we do is we insert an empty MIDI region, which is the exact same way that we made these guide or these reference files right there. We just enter an empty MIDI region down here on the piano roll. We're just going to, can you guys see that? Yeah, I guess you can see my piano roll. So we just entered any random note. It really doesn't matter what your note is. And then this is a tricky part. The sequence of this really matters. It won't work if you don't do the proper sequence. You're going to hit, take us into MIDI mode, and then you're going to select that. So in MIDI mode, we've assigned that this thing is the next MIDI note you hear. I want to cue this up to that MIDI note. And so you see D8 right here. We're about to hit the space bar, and then it will play that note, and it'll cue up right there. So boom, and then you see right there. I don't know why oh, I do know why, because GarageBand is open. I was like, it's playing this random note. We're gonna close GarageBand. Yeah, it's fine. Save it. That's cool. I think it was just GarageBand's playing that random note. Let's go back over here. Yeah, okay. So now we're just looping that section right there. Matter of fact, I forgot we had that pad there. So we won't loop right on top of the pad. It could sound good from this keyword, but in the house, you'll hear the nuance of, restarting that.
Chorus.
I'm probably going to get clipped for doing that. That was an interesting sound, but that's okay. Um, so now we have a loop and click because basically all that's happening is this one right there, that note is saying when you play that note, cue this up. And the way that I run this is by doing one bar right here. You can do quarter note and all kinds of different stuff. I've found what helps with us to keep us right on the measure instead of doing quarter note and eighth note or whatever. That you basically, it says once I'm done with this measure. So it's really key that you put it right there. If you put it right here, and then say you want to launch up another song. So like go to song 3, and then it got overridden by that. So if you put that there, and then you hit 3, it doesn't cue that up. It's going to cue up song 3 right there. Of course, song 3 is supposed to be gratitude. So you see what we should be doing is doing this. Truthfully, when I make this, I normally rush through this a lot faster, and then I'm just like cleaning up random stuff like that after the fact. So you see right now we got song 1, 2, 3. We don't have a lot of guides cues for this one. I'm not overly concerned about it at the moment, though, truthfully. So that'll be something we can look at later. Okay, hit that save button. One of the key things that we are going to hit later is our transitions between songs. So at our church, we really value the smooth transition between songs, not pulling people out of worship. And part of the way that we do that is intentional moments that are crafted in, intentional transitions between songs. So let's go ahead and just pull up Google Chrome. That 4th song in Planning Center is Who Else? So we're going to go ahead and get ready for Who Else. Add a locator. You can call it for dash Who Else, in parentheses, a flat, boom. Okay. That's Who Else. So we're going to look on the file, look for Who Else, because I'm sure you've done the song. There it is right there. Who Else? Let's pull that out. Why does that drum sound not good at all? So sometimes Ableton just gets a little bit glitchy, especially when you try to do so much with it, because you see the drums look good. Well, maybe they don't actually. We're going to see if we can salvage this first, and if we can't, then we just start it from scratch. It's all good. And that way it'll be cool. I'll get to show you. Yeah, you can hear that clearly is not with our click. I don't know, maybe if Who Else is not supposed to actually be 68. So right over here, you can go back to the songs. So if we go to our tracks, and type in W for Who Else, or Who for Who Else, whatever, 68. So that is correct. So, and you can see it's not warped or anything. It's not 68. So this is purely, this isn't our mistake. I don't think this should be purely a glitch in Ableton because everything looks solid. And one thing they told me is that we're actually doing, yeah, you see it right there, be ready for the entire 9-minute version for baptisms or be prepared to cut it early. We have a fade button that we can fade out our track. So we're going to just enter the entire 9-minute version. So that'd be cool. I'll get to show you how we do our tracks from scratch when we do have to put a song in. So I'll just do that. So again, we got Who Else here, and then we're going to hit the 4 button right there. Yep, we're sure we want to do that. Again, check the BPM of it. So right up here, double click that. It says 68 BPM on here. You can always Google it if you don't know how to look at the folder. So 68, and then I hit enter. You see down there, just assign something different. Go ahead and hit that space bar. Again, A takes us to automation mode. Right there, boom. You see we've taken that out. So now everything from here forward in this file is 68 BPM. You can see it up here. And then, so we're going to go, it also needs to be in 4/4. You see it's still in 6/8, so we go create, insert time signature change, 4-4, enter. Takes us to 4/4 time. So very good. So now we're going to go here, open up the multi-track. See, there's a lot of different, that's an Ableton file. There's a few different things. Right there, we're just looking for the audio files. So basically, I just leave that right here, and then we just drop them in our different areas here. And then I just kind of go in alphabetical order. So AG is an acoustic guitar. We just drop that right there. The bass, going to drop that in the bass section right there. You see I have 2 basses because some songs use 2 basses, so I'd rather have more than not. If I have multiple things in the same section, so I know I'm about to put some vocals in, this is BGVs, background vocals, I'll hold command and then click on different things. It lets me select. So I'm going to look down just while we're at it, see if there's any other vocal tracks in this one. And I don't think there is. So we're going to drag this over. If you got to hold command, you see if you don't hold command, they're going to go all long on the same thing. Hold command, and then boom. Now you see our thing closed because I hung out here too long while I was showing you, but if you go fast, it doesn't close it out. Anyway, click track, keep that going. You see how this could take a little while if you're not familiar with it, but basically I'm just dragging and dropping. The EGs, you see they're next to each other, so I hold the shift button. It automatically ignores these .asd files, which don't mean anything. If you're wondering why I'm skipping them, they don't mean anything in this particular context. They do in another context. There's electric piano, so you can decide for yourself oftentimes if electric piano is something you want to throw in your tracks, or again, we do the band up here, so that's stuff that's not going to go in the house. I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to drop it right here for now, and then I'm going to probably listen to it and decide if this is something I want in the house or not. So the guide, again, I go alphabetical order so we don't forget anything. I'm going to take us back out of automation mode. Remember that A button just looks cleaner. You can see what you're doing a little bit better. Keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a lot of times they have a lot of keys, so I'll just select all of that. And then you remember when we drag it over, we're going to hold the command button. I'm just going to put them under my keys file, and you see they all dropped there in order because I was holding the command button. By the way, the synth bass, while I'm on keys, I put that under there, but I have a special track for it. Not for any particular reason other than if our front of house engineer asks me I need more or less or whatever, that synth bass, then I know exactly where that is. The percussion is right here. Okay, our piano. Let's take our piano. By the way, if you drag this .asd, oh, I didn't mean to open that. My bad. Okay, we're going to make sure it's not playing. Okay, it's not playing. If you drag .asd, it's not going to do anything. It won't mess anything up. It just won't work. So anyway, there's your piano. We already did synth bass. I think I just did perc, right? Yes, I did. And then synth effects, so you can kind of decide for yourself if that's more percussion or if it's more of keys by listening or looking. In this case, see, that was kind of a hit. It had some synths in there as well. Let's take our tracks out so you can hear better. See, so that could go either way because you got that sort of sound. But it definitely seems very percussive. So I'm going to leave it over in the percussion file, especially since you see there's only 2 tracks in this song that are percussion. There's a whole bunch that are keys. So I'm going to leave it just like that. And actually, we got a pretty easy one here. You know, I showed you a little bit how we cut this one up. Here, listen to this real quick. And sometimes you got to go through and do a lot of cross-fading and editing tracks. In this particular case, we literally just cut it out of there, and it was so smooth as is because those are all interludes and they all fit together nicely anyway. So there's nothing you really need to do with that section. So sometimes I really do a lot with editing songs. We dug into it a little bit with Life is Better. But who else? Again, what was requested in the Planning Center right there is be ready for the entire 9-minute version. So that's what we have at the moment. Now I do know one thing, baptisms are happening there during this song. Coming straight to the message, generally what we do at our church is we don't do an intro. Going into the song, we just want to go, you know, the pastor's praying and go, in Jesus' name, amen. Yeah, and an instrument, whatever. Going straight into the song. By the way, this says A flat. We can always check because I just pulled this from the multi-track, so we don't need to check ourselves. Actually, it says G right there. Do you see it? It's in G. So we got to go ahead and take all this up a half step. As you know, from G to A flat is a half step. Hit warp, again, complex pro. Hit just that one, hit that enter button, and you can always double check with GarageBand. It doesn't matter because I already closed GarageBand, so it didn't play that MIDI note. Because you know, MIDI is just MIDI, whether it's queuing up a looping click like that, or running your lights for you, or playing piano. MIDI is just MIDI, and it all can speak together. So anyway, this is that whole version right now. Again, it's 9 minutes and 11 seconds. Remember, I don't count the count in. The other thing too, I don't know if you ever heard like the pastor says, amen, let's worship, and then you hear just like this long pause. That's because sometimes the band is hearing in their ears that, or if you're in the team, you know about that awkward pause. So I always take this right there.
Verse 2, 3.
Yep.
4.
And sometimes if the tracks are fading in before there, then you want to edit them in such a way. In this case, there's really nothing
1,
that plays in this first measure.
2,
So we're good there. And again, like I said, probably taking that intro out. Oh, I think that, never mind, there isn't an intro in the song anyway.
verse 2,
The song starts
3,
with that, right? If it was, for example, if that was that, then you could go edit cut time, and then anything you might need to fade in, for example, that crossfade. Maybe you need to do a little like crossy fade like that. I'm just showing you stuff, but no, in this case, that is the verse right there.
2, 3,
I
4.
am in it. And then you see right there, they sing over 4. So again, like I said, with gratitude, I like to just mute that one. If the vocalist in rehearsal asks for that back, then you just hit that and go, there it is, no problem, right? You never say, oh, I took it out because of da 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 da. And, just say, sure, no problem, we'll put it right back. And you never want to be in a position of like, oh, I don't know how to put it back. Oh, it's stuck. Like, it's just right there. You hit that 0 button and it's good. But I find more often than not, if you don't have that 4, if they're supposed to be singing on 4, it makes space for them to sing more cleanly. So it goes
Verse 2, 3.
I am an instrument. And it just sets them up much better that way. So I like that. All this song seems to be solid.
Breakdown.
I always listen through, especially key sections of transitions. Like right there, you see the drums do something, so I'm listening for what that is. So you see right there, just a chorus all in, but there was a big break that happened right there. And so that's the kind of thing that I like to, so we're going to go back because we know we were just on the guides. A second ago, you see all my guides right here. They say English female because you can get them in Spanish and French as well. So really there's a big break that happened right there. So I'm looking for the one that says break. Oh man, pull this out. I don't know why this is, okay, now I can see. Not breakdown, but break. I'll sometimes just put it right there because you see there's like some extra tail on there. So just hit the delete button right there. And then boom, so now you got
chorus, break, all in.
Yeah, so that cue makes sense to me. If something else makes sense to you, like build your own, don't get stuck with what it is. You see I just 0 and the deleted, or you could E and delete.
Chorus, break, all in. Break.
Oh, I see the break key was right there.
Break.
So you could always just take that Command E, Command X to cut, and then Command V to paste it right there. I don't know, I already have my own at this point. So deleting that as well. And then, so, I don't know, they have the break here, but to me, almost forget you're going to break at that point. So
break, all in.
I feel better with that cue personally. And, sometimes if it's a new one that I've not done anything with, I'll just
verse 2.
See if any of the cues need anything, like this one right
chorus.
Here.
Drums
it says
in.
drums in. I'm good with that cue. That makes sense to me.
Chorus.
And if you're building tracks for your team, I'm going to assume that you're a leader on your team in some way. So you got to think of what cues make sense for your team and your language that you use leading them. Like that's got to be different for every church.
Chorus.
And a little bit more happens right there versus this chorus, a little more down, and it doesn't say anything. So for me personally, I would like to give it, I don't know. I just feel like if there was a cue that said like a little bit more, or like build, maybe slowly build, because it's not like a big build. I think the slowly build cue is good. I did, by the way, do some AI cues before, AI voice cues. So I don't know. That's definitely something I could explore more at a later date, but I just found that for me, I didn't feel like that was something that was a super high necessity, I suppose. So I haven't done a whole lot, but that could be a future project for sure.
Chorus. Slowly build.
So I like that cue personally. And then see it breaks down here, but it doesn't say anything. So for me, I'm probably going to say breakdown. Because you see the level just changed significantly and it didn't say anything. If I'm on the mic at MD, I don't need nearly as many cues because I can give them the cues if they need it. But again, this is a student team for this particular service, so
bridge.
Cool. So drums are in right there.
Bridge.
And then slowly build is good. Build is good there. So I just jump around these guides. We already did that one. Cool, so the tag. And sometimes I'll give a little 2, 3, 4, which we know we have a little 2, 3, 4 right here. So E, C, Z, Command E, Command C, Command Z. And then I like to just give them sometimes a little Oops, remember we zeroed that out, so let's zero it back in.
Breakdown. 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, just helps, I feel like.
Chorus.
And that's just a long space there, so I might give them the 2, 3, 4 there. Some MDs I've heard love to just put a 2, 3, 4 for everything. If your team really needs it, sure, go ahead. I find it a little unnecessary personally.
Chorus. 2, 3, 4.
So anyway, that's that. I know as a team, this is usually where we end the song, but in this particular week, we're being asked to do the entire thing. You see, there's a whole second half of the song. So I might do a little bit extra with these cues.
Tag.
Even just putting them up here on the top.
Tag.
Let's make this a different color. I've been doing pink for everything. Oh, green. Command R, call it tag.
Instrumental.
That's also another tag. And then that's a rename instrumental. Remember I said I don't do these necessarily if they're very normal.
Instrumental.
Oops, my bad. Oh, I see. I didn't do it quite on the beat. Okay. So now, boom, that's an instrumental. That's another instrumental.
Instrumental.
That's another instrumental. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that live. So that's another thing that might be felt out in rehearsal a little bit. I actually missed our meeting this week. So
Instrumental.
I don't know exactly, but so that's the kind of thing that sometimes we talk about in our meetings more specifically.
Instrumental.
Which I recommend for sure. Okay, so I see there's light drums there. So if you want it to follow to the roadmap, then why make your drummer be like, is this the one? Is this the one? Like, we're here ultimately to serve our teams, and so I'm going to put a drums in. It irks me a little bit when worship leaders, MDs are like, they've got to memorize it. It's on them to figure it out and know what we're doing. Like, yeah, to the best of their ability, but help them out too. Come on, we're in this together.
Instrumental.
So,
drums in.
Drums in. Boom. And then now you got a little bit of drums and the drummer knows it. If you're looking at the tracks, you can see right here, there's some drums. So
chorus.
So that's the chorus. So we definitely want to make sure that we got a chorus cue in. So let's put this chorus, and again, we'll put it a new color, so maybe that one. That's cool. I see some drums are there. That kind of went to just cymbals here, but it's not significantly different, so it's not really a big deal whatever the drummer does one way or the other. Drag that chorus out there, and then cool, we got a bridge now, so let's love that keys part. It's one of my favorites. I'm not real familiar, to be honest, with the second half of this song, because we almost never do it. And then that's probably going to be drums in. Yeah, drums in. So really, I wonder if it would be worth a breakdown cue here. Not necessarily, because truthfully, the drums weren't doing a whole lot.
Drums in.
So drums in, sometimes your drum's like, here we go, bam. There is a cue in the multi-tracks thing that says softly. So actually, I might try that.
Instrumental. Drums in softly.
I mean, so something like that, instrumental drums in softly, maybe even putting it over there. You can see your beats, right? 1, 2, 3, and then 4 there. So we'll see if this makes more sense.
Instrumental. Drums in softly.
I kind of like that. I mean, this was kind of fine too.
Drums in soft.
Yeah, let's do the redo. I think the 2 and 3 works, and then leaving the 4 open. So
instrumental. Drums in softly.
Yeah, because if they hear drums in, they might think ba da 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 ba. Like the beginning of this, the early bridge, where the drums came in like crazy. So this is now proper drums in right here. Boom. And you can see physically where it comes. If you want to sing the part to the drummer, or maybe if you're running tracks from the drums, you could see it for yourself. Boom.
Bridge.
Boom, and you can see the drums are about to really come in here. Put our other bridge right there. Let's jump ahead. You can see there's a big build happening here. What's this? Woo! Love those drum parts. That's good. And I love that chord. That's a 4 or 6, by the way.
Chorus.
going to be a chorus all in. I love that it gave the all in key. That's helpful. Okay, so now let's jump ahead. The tag, so we can copy this tag earlier.
Tag.
Sure.
Ending.
Cool, and that's the end right there. It's really not necessary to put a looping click at the end because Ableton will go on infinitely. It doesn't actually stop on you. But just for good practice, because you never know if we do add something at the end. If we say, hey, we need a fifth song, then it's good to have that looping click ready. So I'm going to go here, Command R. Remember my shortcut is I do R because this is song 4. R is right underneath 4. Let's program that on the key button to R. Yes, I'm sure. All right, add that MIDI region right here. Right, we're going to create insert MIDI region, double click to add something on the piano roll, boom, spacebar after having clicked there, and then it's programmed, note A#7 right there. And you can see, again, when the click's on, you can hear that it's looping around. And so our team knows I have them trained on, our clicks are on QWER, and our songs are on 1, 2, 3, 4. So R, boom, right there, and then song
Verse
4.
2.
So even before the song, you know, if you want to play under Pastor or whatever's happening, you got there. You don't even have to stop it. You just hit 4, and it'll take you in time. 1,
Verse
2,
3.
Yep. So it's kind of nice. Now that I've made all of these, we might as well go ahead and
Breakdown.
put the rest of our thingies in there. So there's a chorus there. What's this?
Chorus.
Yeah, it's a
Break.
chorus as well.
All in.
I don't like leaving that click, and some people always leave that in. Not me. These are tags as well. So we'll put that there. This a little just hangs on a chord, so you don't need to fill every single second with them, I don't feel like. Bridges.
Interlude.
Because that's interlude, that's interlude.
Bridge.
There's a bridge. All right, so remember, I don't put it right on the guide. 2, 3, and then they sing right here, Lamb of God. And so zooming out, I just put that there. Oh man, I shouldn't have copied all of those bridges because it's not as many times this one. Is this it right there? No, it's the interlude. I think it's right here. Yep, right there. So we're going to put it right there again because there's a 1 measure lead in. So there's 1 bridge, there's a 2nd bridge. So it's 2. It's so much easier too when your vocal team asks you, I suppose, that maybe I should always have this because you can just physically see when they say, how many bridges are there? You can go, well, there's 2 the first time, there's 3 the second time. There's no ambiguity that way. Everybody knows exactly what we're doing. Instrumental. This is called an interlude. If you care about calling it interlude versus instrumental, they mean basically the same thing. So I'm going to put both of them as instrumental for now, just for sake of time, whatever.
Chorus.
And this is a chorus as well. So boom, place that in right there. This is also a chorus right here. What is this, a verse? Yeah, you can see it's a verse. I don't think we've made a thing for verse just yet, so we will. So rename this as verse, and then right click, and then make it some color that you haven't made anything else yet. I don't even know, I'm running out of colors. Sure, purple. You know, I could have a more solid system for this, but it's something that we just haven't done a whole lot of yet. Oh, that's chorus, okay. So this starts out right out with the verse. You remember there's no instrumental, so that's actually supposed to be a chorus right there. You can always check it by going right there. So you see how song goes verse, chorus, chorus, instrumental. You know, if somebody wants to know the roadmap too, it's such an easy way to look at it and see exactly where you're going. Got some tags, chorus, bunch of instrumentals, a chorus, couple bridges, and with a big chorus, you can see that it's a down chorus because look at the wave file, chorus, tags. We end with a click. Check our numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you zoom in, you can see them real good that it takes you to those for sure. Okay, hit that save button. We're doing pretty good here. Now, the thing that we definitely have not done at all is transitions. So pop back over to your file. You can always double check that we did it. We ended with who else. We did those 2 songs. We start with that one. So we start with a 1-minute service bumper and then take us straight into Thank God I'm Free. So it's just going to be exactly like that. There's nothing unique that's going on with that. Just starting right out with the song. Cool. We see a little crash out at the end.
Welcome to
It's always good to listen through these because you never know if something's going to glitch. I thought for a minute it was going to glitch.
chorus. Hits. Welcome to 3, 4.
And you see how right now it hard cuts there. Obviously, you don't want all your tracks to just hard cut. So we're going to play with that here in just a minute. And you see right there, it went welcome 2, 3, 4 in a whole new tempo. That's because we took it from another service, if you remember. And we're about to go into a song that's 72.5. By the way, I remember that is the song Bless God. We were in that particular service, we were going into the song Bless God. In this service, we're going to check what we're going into. So here it says there's a welcome. So sometimes I do the welcome with the first song, Thank God I'm Free. Sometimes I do the welcome with the second song, Life is Better. Sometimes I need something different altogether, although I find that one's more rare. If you want the transition to be really smooth into the second song, then setting up straight into the second song is really helpful. In this case, there's a creative video and then there's a drum solo, so we really don't need to change that key. It doesn't matter at all, that key going in this key, because that's going to have a fresh reset from the video and the drum solo both. So in this case, we might as well do the welcome on Thank God I'm Free. So all this whole change into a new time is not it. You want to hit that A button again, take it down to song tempo, and this whole change to a slower tempo real quick is not what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and just, what am I going to do? I'm just going to click here to take it out. There's multiple ways you can do this. I'm just going to click there. The other thing you can do is select. Well, there we go. So anyway, just take the dots out one way or the other. And then hit that L button again. That's my shortcut for locator. That's not native to Ableton. So if you're not part of our church, you're somewhere else, you can program that using the assign add locator right there. Assign it. I find that a very nice shortcut. I enjoy. And then remember our system, Command R, we're going to call it Q, because Q is underneath one. Assign it to the key, Q, Q. Do the same thing we do where we create a MIDI region right there, double click on some random note. If you accidentally assign it over a note, then you will cancel out the other one. So you want to make sure you don't do that. Boom, it's assigned there, but it will give you a warning. Are you sure you want to go over this? And in that case, you'll say, no, I'm not sure. You just pick a different note. Go back out. You can always check it. Boom, we see it looping without even turning our click on. You can just physically see it's looping here. So we're good to go on that. Doing great. So now, if you remember, we did not, in fact, change this. This might sound very weird.
Welcome to 3, 4.
Actually, that's not terrible. That's really going to go in too fast. One thing I did right here, you might notice, is I decided to put the count in on beat 4, because we go hit, 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 and that's like the 4, right? 1, 2, 4. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just put the welcome there. That's just what felt better to me at that time, making that the new one almost. So we need one more measure in here. So I'm going to go edit, insert, or create insert silence right there. That category is the measures. So we're going to hit OK on that one. And then now what we're going to do is a 2-bar count. By the way, this welcome cue right here.
Welcome.
We always call that our welcome when we say, hey, welcome to church and all that kind of thing. So that's one of my AI created cues, just because that's something that works for our church. Like I said, I'm making the 4th beat the new one. So right there, I'll go create insert time signature change, and we're going to put that on 4/4. So you see we got this little measure 3/4, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So kind of weird. 1, 2, 3, and then there's another 1. Anyway, so what I'm feeling is that we do a 2-bar count right there, which will also allow, it just, you kind of got to think of your church and your people and what they want to do in that moment. And I know our church wants to go, bum, bum, bum. We want to go, yay, thank you, Jesus. So we don't want to clap and celebrate and then say, hey, welcome to church. We don't want to go, bum, bum, bum. Oh, welcome to church. Like, you just killed the moment, So, so yes, right there. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Let's go back to something normal. So we're just going to put a little 1, a little 2, because this is the standard count-in format. And see, I covered it up a little bit. That's why I said earlier, sometimes I'll put it somewhere random. But in this case, it's all salvageable. And we'll just pull that right back over there. And you see, by the way, I would have, you see there's extra information there. And if I put the file on the beat, then the actual audio would not be on the beat. So I like to put the audio where it actually is. Otherwise, your stuff's going to sound delayed. So you see right there, deleted it. Put that right on the beat like that. So nice. Little detail. It's those little details when your stuff's actually on the grid versus like just approximating. Anyway, so now we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. And then that's your new one right there. So I'm going to put that, because remember we changed where the beat was. We're going to deal with that in a minute because that's not on the beat, but I'll show you how to deal with that. That's very easy. But you see now our issue, especially you'll hear it if we kill the guide for a minute. all our tracks hard cut, which is not what you want to have happen, because you'll hear, oh, what just happened? Like everything dies in the house real quick. So what we are gonna do is pull everything out. If everything's lined up, then it will pull out nicely. I have a shortcut for you if they're not lined up. This is a weird just like thing of Ableton. If they're not lined up, they don't pull out nicely, which can be a little bit frustrating. So all you do is you cut the extra little bit that's on the end, hit that delete button, and then now we know they're all lined up nicely, and we just select them all with that shift button, and just pull them out to right there. Boom. So you see you got a little fade right there. Again, if you're not in automation mode, if you're on automation mode, that goes away. We can pull that fade right there. So the bass, you don't need the fade because you see it stopped right there. So don't just blindly fade everything. The piano's already good. The guitar needed a little fade right there. So we're good. A little fade. This one needs a little fade as well. See, they're already good. I think I did all those earlier. Let's look at 9. I like to keep all these files open. You can shift and then just do that little side button. That one, see, is fading, but for no reason because the file stopped right there anyway. So that one, you can see that's down. We can always listen, but to me, a longer fade's probably going to work for that one. See, it's just kind of like a pad texture. So I'd rather take that one really gradually down. It's not so much like, for example, listen to this EG10. See, it's just a big standard like rock guitar. It clearly cuts off there. So to fade out a rock guitar like that, like it just is not as natural. Again, I'm being particular because there's 10 guitar tracks. It's really not that big a deal, but again, you just want stuff to sound as natural as possible, right? A rock guitar plays and stops. An ambient guitar does fade down. That's just how sound works and how things sound sort of the most natural. This one's fading out, which means that this was probably left over from Bless God. So I'm going to delete that. I'll bet you this one's the same story. Let's listen to it real quick. Yep, that sounds like probably Bless God to me. So anyway, this file was a synth bass anyway. So let's pull that out. And then you see right there, we don't need a fade because look at our synth bass right there. It's stopping clearly right there. So it's all good. This one you can see is starting, not finishing. So this is probably another one left over from, yep, from some other song. Delete that. We don't need that. And we can delete files that don't have anything going on too, by the way. This one, okay, so you want to watch for stuff like this. This right here is playing a strong ending. Oops, solo this one. But it's coming from literally nothing. So like what? Let's make up our minds. Are we going to do nothing or are we going to do this? Either answer is fine. So let's listen and see if it's something. You know, so I would leave that in there, but like you don't want a synth coming out of nowhere just for those last 3 hits. So similar story on this one. Let's see, maybe pull it back here. Of course, now we're gonna get a hard start right here. Let's solo this one. It's always good to listen to your tracks individually. They'll sound amazing together if you can listen to them individually. Yeah, cool. Piano effects, let's listen to that one. So that's some like strong hits right there. Let's listen if I didn't mess that up. Yep, and so actually you can see in this one, it starts very clearly right here. By the way, if you're wondering why aren't we using this part of it, that's because we're not actually doing this full song. We're doing an arrangement that we cut up. See that section with the bomb, bomb, bomb? That's just not a part of the song that we're doing, so we don't need every part that already exists. These strings you see are fading all over the place, so let's just listen, see if they sound natural. Ooh, this would have been one I did at an earlier date. That's such a nice thing. Just listen to that one more time. That was so good. That's just so good right there. We definitely need that in there. Synth pad. Listen to that one. Yeah, that's all cool. There's a vocal effects. Don't be afraid to take those out. Or don't be afraid to leave those in, rather. I know that it sounds weird on its own, but those little vocal effects textures, so nice. It's not the same thing as leaving background vocals. We don't leave background vocals in. This is strings as well. I wonder if that's this. Yeah, that's the same as that. So we're just doubling it last. That's not what you want. Hit the delete button. You know, when you move stuff around a lot, sometimes stuff happens, or if you let other people touch your tracks, you just don't know what happens. Look at this one right here. You see it's starting and stopping. Look at that right there. It's supposed to cut off. So let's just listen and see if that actually sounds natural. And yeah, it actually does. It worked really well just like that. So no crossfade need. Sometimes people just crossfade. My team used to do that when I was first teaching them. And like, we just crossfade unnecessarily. Like, that sounded very natural and good. Listen one more time. I liked how that sounded. It's very good. We don't need a crossfade stuff just to crossfade it. So that's perfect just as is. And you see there's a little bit of a hard stop right there. So we're going to go ahead and fade that. And you'll hear, boom, now it's solid. Synth loop, let's check that one out. Yep, all good. There's a little bit of a thing that starts right there. Let's see if we can, here, let's listen to everything real quick. And see.
Post-chorus.
Right here.
Hits.
So you see I put it right there because that's the section where we start something new. And this is, again, something that just our church is doing in a particular way. So that's what works for us anyway. Oh, this keys. So see, these keys 2, 3, 4 are kind of just hard starting there. So that's one thing I'm a little bit thinking about. So in some ways, this could be a candidate for like fading in. You see these 2, 3, and 4 all kind of work together in tandem. So you could make them all potentially have this fade. Again, I don't want to get fade in happy and do every single track like this. It sounds unnatural. Sometimes I like to listen to just sections. So we're going to listen to all the keys together. Sound kind of nice. Yeah, so let's hear how it sounds in the whole mix. You know, I just sometimes double click that solo because it'll solo that track and then nothing will be soloed after that.
Post-chorus.
Yeah.
Hits.
Bam, bam, bam. 1,
Welcome.
2, 3, 4. Bam. And then we're in. I might even leave the drums all the way up because, yeah, that sounded good to me. I liked how that was. Again, if you don't like it or whatever, do it how you like it. By the way, this one you see is hard cutting. By the way, if it played on its own, oops, that didn't sound great. And this one here, that's hard starting. But just picture them as one thingy together. And now, it kind of works. You know, if you care, let's just listen to this. Okay. I might take it back. I might actually go ahead. Oh, yeah. See, because I kind of like that because that just fades out naturally. And then we can take... I might do the same thing with this and fade it in this here. The only reason I'm not as concerned about these EGs, to be honest, is we don't... we haven't really been using them. We primarily use them as a backup plan. Like if something's going on with the live guitars or whatever, then we just throw them in there. But anyway, yeah, you always want to listen to your solo stuff and then just go ahead. Sometimes I even pull the guide out, definitely leaving the click out and just hear how it all sounds together. So let's try that. And nothing sounded weird to me. It all sounded good to me. So hit that save button. We're good. And so what we do with this welcome then, so sometimes if we know exactly what the welcome needs to be, I'm actually going to put some backing tracks with it. Right now it's just this, just a looping click. I think, is it going to be a long, well, it's not, but it's, we have some students that are welcoming. Let's see what the notes say. Elementary student praying out of welcome. Okay, Carl tells everyone to fill the front. You know, there's nothing too much in particular, so we could potentially, I like to take about verse 2s or so. Take that click back out, we don't need that. The thing is, if you do that, you get stuck on like the same vibe the whole time. Yeah, and also just like the stopping, you need to fade it out. So sometimes, basically what I would do, I would, you know, take us back to automation mode, and I would take, for example, that verse, and then go edit, cut time, bam, and then we'd paste it over here, and then we would cross-fade things together, just like we did, and you'd have a whole nice section that was basically like looping on the verse. I think in the case of this service, I feel better with it not in there. Just because I want them to have the freedom and flexibility if they need to take it to different sections, or for them to end smoothly and not have the tracks continuing. Okay, so I feel good with where that's at again on the Q button, and then it's just looping in a circle. Again, when you put your click on, you'll hear it. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. So let's see, after that happens, we get a video and another video, it seems like. And then we get the song Life is Better. So there's nothing really that it says is happening there other than it's starting with an intro. So we're just going to put this on Oh, I remember it got off there. So, you know, just like we do, create, insert, time signature change right there. And it's 4:4 already. You can cut this out if you just want it to look clean. Edit cut time. Bam, now it looks all clean anyway. It's 4:4 anyway, so whatever. Put our guide back in.
Intro.
Personally, here's the thing is, you'll be able to hit your intro a little bit more solid, probably if you
Intro. 2,
go right there.
3, 4.
Versus having to wait a long time for it and coming out of the video. I don't know. It just can be harder to tell. So I think I'm going to do there. Now I did hear, you see this synth right there is coming before. So I'm going to zero that out, anything that comes before that. And then I'm just going to see if that sounds natural, because there's a different way to do this if not. Yeah, that already sounds natural. What you could do is take this and move it right over here and then crossfade those. Oh, don't fade that. Take that out. Boom, boom. Okay, try that. Yeah, that feels a little unnecessary. You can do like that. Yeah, maybe crossfade even more. Yeah. That felt pretty good to me. And then what's this here? That, we're gonna take that out. I don't know why that's there really. Well, actually, I don't know. What if that rang over of this? Does that make sense? Let's see. Doesn't feel like it's even in the right like key or anything. What's this here? See, I like how that kind of rings out. Even with the drum solo, I think it's still
Intro.
good there.
2, 3, 4.
In person, I kind of like that, to be honest. Oh, I know what I wanted to like do that. Here, let's try this. Hit solo. Yeah, just since it's a 1 bar, like so that comes in a little bit faster. That feels good to me personally. What's this? Is that the same thing? We're gonna take out all those. I don't know why they're there. Synth 1, and that is absolutely nothing. Okay, cool. We're gonna take it out then. Sometimes when you're taking things between files, they end up on the wrong tracks. You see that there? So we're gonna delete that. I still know. This one, oh. Okay, I know. Okay, so this guitar, you see is very aggressive. That's not what we wanted. So here's the thing that I do every once in a while. I'm gonna put this down. Okay, come on. Right there. You see, this is because when we pasted it from the other file, it ended up on the wrong line. So we're just gonna put it right there. Let's see our perks. Yep, and then there's all our percussion parts and all that. So see if there's anything else on this file, and in this case, there's not. So we're good. So what I'm gonna do, actually we're gonna move it down here just so it's at the very bottom. I'm gonna make this have effects. So this is what I've done with this guitar. So basically if you come over here on the side, you can do audio effects. And then I like to put this filter on the guitar, and then just basically, oops, not that filter, delete that. I just put a very simple like 3 band filter basically. You see it, there it is right there. So the 3 band filter, I just drag it down here. I put the high gain, well I put the high frequency a little bit lower. And then what we do is just put that high gain on nothing. Bring that back over this way. Solo that for a sec. And then you see what that, so we're gonna use our automation mode for something else. So see it defaulted to that because that's what we just added. So we're gonna boom right there, infinite 0. And we're gonna just like gradually bring that guy up to 0, not to more than 0. So by the very end, it'll be that aggressive guitar, but it's gonna start on just very filtered. So let's just back up and see how that sounds.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. See, now it's got that sort of like down, like it's building, almost a synth-like guitar, which is why I'm putting this under a keys file. You see it's starting to come up a little bit.
Drums in.
Yep. And I'm pretty happy with that. And our live guitars will be playing behind that anyway. You hear that coming up.
Chorus, all in.
And then boom, we're there. Now I'm just gonna see, is that too much really? I might put it a little bit lower like that. That should be good. And then, oh, I remember I had taken out this high guitar for graduation. It just didn't suit it for that one. So I'm gonna, remember 0 just to put it back in. Let's solo that. Yeah, because see, that's just like almost borderline metal guitar, but really in the context of this song, I think it's gonna fit nicely. Yeah, because it's more of a punchy sort of rock song. You can take it out of automation mode, hit save. Okay, the big thing that we haven't done yet is this transition between song 2 and 3, right? Because song 1 and 2, there's a whole video that happens in between, so we're good. We don't need to do anything there. Song 4, there's an entire sermon that happens right here, so we're good there. But between 2 and 3, they go straight into each other. So again, let's look and see if there's any notes. I do recall that there is scripture transition into gratitude. So remember, we're going to decide if that needs to be live, built into the tracks, or just on a looping click. It was about 20 to 25 seconds is the instruction I was given. And again, right here, it's on 18, so that's really not quite enough.
1, 2.
So let's see how this song ends.
I'm with you is better, better than it could have been ever on my own, on my own.
And then, so we just got to decide, do you want own and then sit in that moment and then go to your next song, or you want own and then piano right there? In this case, those are different keys, so I might recommend that we actually hold own D, hold D, and then pushes up to E, and then intro, bum, 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 which might actually give him the extra 5 seconds or so that he needs right there anyway to do his call to worship. I listened to it, but you see right there, you can see physically, because we marked it, where it actually ends. So we're going to go edit, cut time right there, because we're going to take out all that space between these songs. It's going to go straight into one another. We're just going to let that ring over just a little bit. There's a little bit of reverb tail or whatever that is right there. And I think, is there a pad that takes it? Yeah, you can see that pad right there. Fade us up to the new key, out of the old key. So that's nice and helpful, and I don't know what that keys thing. What? What is that? You know, sometimes stuff just stays. That's something I stole from an earlier demo, and it still lived in there. It's funny how, like, when you have these living files, that things can just, like, be artifacts in there of who knows what from earlier. Hit that save button. My goodness.
1, 2, 1,
And
2,
then boom, we're
3,
in our
4,
new
5, 6.
key right there. Oh, by the way, little things like that. You saw that right there? It kind of hard cut, which was fine. It's a rock guitar. It's what they do, but see, I've just got like a little bit of reverb on there. Not a lot, but just a little tiny bit. And then that one, same story. It's kind of hard cuts, but at least, you know, if you pull it out at hard cuts in a natural way versus whatever, it's not a big deal. But, you know, sometimes this is all little details add up to the whole picture. You know, just like 100 little details make 100. If it's a 1% difference, then 100 things make a 1% difference, make 100% difference. And that's one thing that, you know, I've felt about tracks is like, that's just what this is. There's a lot of little things that each one of these things don't matter at all, but then they make your whole thing really nice when you put it all together. So in this case, you hear, if you pull these vocals out especially, we recorded this originally as an a cappella thing. This isn't our recording. This is just sort of demo tracks we run off of. But you see everything fades out right there. We often will play the piano live right there. Oh, delete that. I don't know. That was from some other thing. Or some random live vocals or something. Also delete that. Kept cleaning up random things. You can pull pads. So I think, where do I have my pads? Let's see, pads. Yeah, right there. I have a pads thing, which you see several pads. These are a few that I've made that I really enjoy, some of the ones that I've made. We're in the key of D, though, so those are going to be pretty far from that. We can listen to them. They'll pull up on Apple Music here. That's not bad. The ones I made have a lot going on with them, though, truthfully. So let's just check these, which I got from, I wish I knew where I got them from. I don't know off the top of my head. That one's pretty nice actually, just plain, not a lot going on. I think I might actually use that one, but we can always listen to the other ones just to see. Key of D. Oh, that's very simple and chill. Deep, what's this? Oh, they're all basically the same thing, to be honest. Okay, having listened, I might prefer that one. So here's what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, and this is gonna be another one that we're gonna edit. So I leave these, by the way, separate from everything else because you don't wanna end up editing something that's, anyway. Oh, sometimes these come in naturally as warped, so you don't wanna warp it. You wanna keep it natural and smooth, so. Okay, so, I'm gonna put it right there, and then you can also have a little fadey in. By the way, this is gonna be way too loud because this is made just as like a general pad thing. And then you see gratitude starts counting in right there, but that other pad starts.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
By the way, you can see physically how light this pad is. And so that's really the level that your pad should live at. So if you're running something like this, that's something I've found sometimes guys will, when they add their own elements, they'll run them so insanely loud because they put them in there and they think, wow, I need to do this. Subtlety is the name of the game in worship and music, really, in general. So let's put this at like -20 and see where that puts us. That may be a little bit too low, but I think that's close. Let's try -15, and you can see, again, before we even listen, we're just looking at waveforms. So try that. Versus this one, solo this. Yeah, honestly, this is still a little bit high, so let's try that -18 or so. Just, just listen by ear. There, pretty good. Oops, sorry, not solo. Yeah, I like that. And then truthfully, okay, the reason I put this down here, so we could do the same thing we did earlier, pull that EQ over here and just filter it down a little bit on the high end. Oh, pull this frequency down. Oops. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. And then honestly, we could pull that gain back up a little bit. Oops, -15 maybe, because we just took all that high end out. The other thing I might do too, if you click over there, right, it's gonna pull up, I might pull some of that low end out as well, because we don't need to rattle the ground with it either. Ooh, that was too much. Try that again. Yeah, something like that. So take the low end out, take the high end out. Pads only need to live in the mid-range, unless you're trying to like really be this bright, aggressive pad. Really just the middle. Ooh, yeah. So you hear without the vocals in there, yeah.
1.
That's the move
2.
right there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you hear that one ended just a little bit early compared to where that next one started. So let's do a little more crossfade in there.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's close. It was probably a little bit too far now. Let's try
1,
that.
2, 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4, 5, 6.
I'm pretty happy with that one. So let's just listen again there. Yeah, I like having that pad in there. It's nice. Jump ahead real quick, and then
2,
takes
1,
us up
2,
to the
3,
key of
4,
E
5,
smoothly.
6.
And now we got that piano intro. Remember, we added that piano intro in there. It just doesn't sound amazing to me. You hear that? Solo that. Well, that's gonna happen anytime you transpose from another key. There's not a whole lot we can do on that right now, I think. Honestly, the envelope opens the high end. But I don't know, it might be more stable that way. It's all give and takes, use your ear and decide what works for you. But again, the piano we're just running as a reference track anyway, so it's not a huge deal for us. But anyway, you can see now we have a smooth transition between them. What we don't have though is our 20-25 seconds. So now we gotta use our brain and figure out, you see it's 18.5, it's so close. Well, no, because it's right there. It's 17.5. So we're definitely not at 20-25 seconds, which was the request. Now, if we double that time, now if you count this, here's the thing, right? That's kind of where I was getting at. That's 22 seconds. So you have to think, what's really going to feel like the part? So better than could have been on my own, on my
One.
own. I'll just put that vocal back in so I feel it.
On my
Let's put that
own.
down a little bit. It's loud.
1, 2.
And then because he can
1,
start
2, 3,
talking
4,
there,
5, 6.
say all the things he needs to say. Usually the original request was 20 seconds, which that's not 20 seconds at all. But if you count it from right there, the total time, that's 22 seconds. So that may be enough.
1.
And then he starts speaking
2.
right there because he's not going to hear
1,
the
2,
guide, our
3,
pastor.
4,
So he's
5,
already
6.
talking right there, saying all the things he needs to say. He could at least be talking there, I think, and that gives him 21. I think that should be fine because, again, the thing is you could double that intro, or if you just added like one bar to it or something like that, it's just going to at some point feel unnatural. So I think you want to lean towards leaving it something natural. Doubling it would be easy, but again, that's going to put us at whatever, 35 seconds or so. It's just, I think it's going to feel too long. So I think that that's what we want to go for right there. I'm going to hit save live set. And again, that's the kind of thing that you can feel out in rehearsal. So you just see, you know, is that the length that we want there? So yeah, so it's always good to listen through your tracks. That's something that often happens in our meetings. We listen through together, but
2.
I'll jump through just to save my time. Because you want to see just did anything do anything weird? Yeah. And then does my looping click work? Yes. Is my letter there? Q. W makes it wide. That would have been a shortcut I used if I had a looping click for the second song. I don't have a looping click for the second song because we're going straight into it from the video. So you can check your numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Check your intro to 2.
2, 3.
Clean. Check your transition between songs.
1,
Clean.
2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's nice. Check through your song. Check your ending of it.
Soft. Chorus 2. Soft.
Check your looping click. This looks all good to me.
Verse 2, 3.
All looks good. We didn't really do much with Who Else because the request was for the entire song. So I think we're good. Oh, Thank God I'm Free. That's the full version. Anyway, so our actual set is here. Okay. So that's the whole set right there. So a couple more things. So we've built our tracks. Hit that save button. So the tracks are built. There's a few more things we're going to do for our team, for our church. We're going to enter the time onto Planning Center for all the songs. So right there, I consider, now it's kind of debate, right? Does the song start where the downbeat is?
Intro
Or
2, 3.
to me, it's kind of like the drums start about there. So that's probably where I'd consider the song is starting. And then boom, I carry it all the way through the crash often. Or wherever he's going to end up saying, hey, welcome to church. So you could say there. It's kind of up for debate where you say, let's go ahead and say 3:46. I'll put it right there. You know, it's the exact time is kind of up to what you say, but 3:46 is definitely less than was there. Because again, remember, we shortened that from our original version. For the original version. This one we already put our time, but we can always double check it just in case we had edited anything. That's all count in, so the actual song starts there. Oh, and it stops right here. So 1:30 on the dot, which I believe is exactly what we put. Yep, right there. Life is better 1:30. Gratitude, let's go ahead and find out. We're going to count it there because that is time that happens unless they have an event. No, there's no event put for his call to worship, so we're going to count that as part of the time for this song. For clarity's sake, we're probably going to end this song with the down chorus, which I know is about that long. So we'll put it, count it to there, even though our tracks end here. We know we're going to sing a down chorus right here. And let's see if I'm saying that correct, that the chorus is that long. Something like that. About there. So let's call it 4:51. For gratitude, it says 55. Go ahead, say 51, whatever. Okay, and then the last song, Who Else? I remember we already put that in there. We can just check it. It starts with I am, so it starts right there. And then no one, only you, Jesus. And the crash out ends about there, and then pastor probably be back up on stage. So actually, we're going to call that 9:01. So it says 917 right now. We'll call it 901. And again, that can be shortened. We have a fade out button. Here, I'll just show you. So we have a physical knob you can fade, but you'll see right here when I pull this down that the guide goes along with it. And as a matter of fact, all of these channels do. They're linked together so that when you pull this gradually down, all the tracks fade out, but the click still remains as is. So I'm going to put it back to 0 there for now. Okay, so that was one thing that we got to do there. And then hit save. So our tracks are good. Our planning center now has the accurate times. And the very last thing that I do, and again, there's going to be some stuff that when we actually plug it in for rehearsal to set the outputs and things like that. But let's save because this is something that can be a little bit annoying to undo, whatever. So we're going to save before I do this. We're currently on an external output, which is how we use our audio device, our audio output device. But we're going to go to what's called master, which is going to let us do the next thing that we want to do, or the last thing I should say that we want to do. And then you're going to line this up with the very, very top of service, and you're just going to select everything that does service. Sometimes I do this in multiple sets. With this particular week, I think it's going to be just fine to do this all as one big thingy. I'm going to go File, Export, Audio, and Video. Audio or video. We're not doing video at all, but that's a feature that Ableton has. And you see we're exporting the master track. You can do individual tracks this way, but we're doing the master output. And if you select it versus trying to figure out what measure number you're on, that's complicated. So not doing that. I output it as MP3. If you want to be really fancy, you could do WAV, but WAV is such a higher data file. It just takes so much. So MP3, you can text it. That's one thing I do. I text the demo to the team. I upload it to Planning Center. So we're gonna hit that export button and then just put it wherever. We'll put it on our desktop so it's easy to find for now. And then we'll call that, what service is this? 6-14 YTO demo, because it's youth takeover demo. Hit the save button, and then we'll wait a minute. While that's happening, I'm going to show you where we're going to put that. So under Google Chrome, on the website, your files live on the bottom right here, bottom left. Files live right there. When it says there's no files right now, we're going to add it. In the app, you scroll over a couple tabs, or you just click on the tab on the right or whatever. The files are accessible there on the app as well. So let's check on our status. It's still working on rendering the audio. I'm just going to show you. It's going to be a simple little drag and drop. It's literally like we'll take the file and we'll put it right there. These master outputs right here, we've got to change those back to external outs. This is the easy way to do it. If you open up all those buses across here, ooh, I'm breaking stuff. Let me not break stuff while I'm showing you. But if you separate all those out, then it's going to do every single individual track, which is annoying right now. Those are set to they're set to output to the I'm going to close that out. They're set to output to the buses. Each individual track outputs to the summing bus, basically. And each of those buses then go to either your external output or your master file, which is very convenient for you. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I was wondering if it was still working. Honestly, a lot of the time, I kind of just go away and come back for it. It's just going to take a little minute to render all this, especially because it's a 20-minute thing. If you're doing one song at a time, it'll take significantly less time. But we're working with a lot of tracks on here, a couple audio effects, a bunch of different files that we've cut up and moved around and stuff like that. But that's the fun of Ableton, right? You can use playback and just go straight through one song to the next, and that's fine. But Ableton's really nice and just all the things you can do. We haven't even really gotten into some of the MIDI things that you can do. Anyway, that's done now. So Finder, go back to our desktop, because that's where we just put that thing. You can see right there, 614, youth takeover. Boom, and I'm just going to take this right there and drag it, files, boom. It's just going to upload. That'll just take a second. And then right there, you can see it's accessible right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up messaging the team about that. So if you hit that E button on here, we don't want to do only that. We want to do everybody, band and frontline. and then boom, we can just email them. You could say tracks uploaded and say, hi, first name. I'm looking forward to having you serve on Youth Takeover. I just wanted to let you know that the demo tracks, so I call them demo tracks are accessible on Planning Center files, which can be found on the bottom left of the website or on the Files tab of the app. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I am looking forward to worshiping, I can't spell today, with you soon. So I just find that if you put it right in front of them, if you just like assume they're going to know, accessible, I'm going to spell that wrong twice in a row. Accessible? Wow. Did I spell that right? There's no way. You're going to literally watch me copy this in there. I don't know why my spell correct doesn't work. Neither does my brain work, so that's fine. Anyway, I find if you actually just email them and check who you're sending it to, make sure it makes sense. Oh, and I forgot, this is students, so I'm going to make it even more clear. I just want to let you know the demo tracks. I'll say this is a helpful way to practice the set exactly how we plan for it to go. So just to make it really abundantly clear for them, go ahead and send that email to 15 different people. The message is sent, our tracks are set. I put it back to external out, I recommend, and then you can't change them to 5 and 6 and all the other numbers until you actually have that audio interface plugged in. Once you have that, then you will be able to set it to the exact output that you want. Our guide is currently on, so we're good to go with that. You know what I didn't do that I should have done is actually listen to it.
1,
I just
2,
anyway.
intro, 2, 3, 4.
The main thing I was going to just say is if you accidentally put it without the guide, then you have to go do that whole process again. Thankfully, I did not do it without the guide. I prefer to do it without the click because nobody really needs to hear the click as a reference, but the guide is very helpful. So anyway, yep, that's up on Planning Center now, and our Ableton file's set, and so we are all done with what we need to do. That's basically what I do for 1 week of tracks, and then we do this every week. Praise the Lord, and that's what it is. So if you're on my team, I hope that you learned something from this and are able to do that. If you are just another worship leader, MD, I'd love to hear from you as well. So please, all you guys, let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, let me know if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you have thoughts about your workflow. I'd love to just like collaborate. Honestly, I've gotten some of like really cool ideas from some of my students, like multiple of them. One was just playing around with it. He wasn't even necessarily on our band team, and he gave me a really cool idea with it. So I know there's lots of great ideas that can come from this, and so I just appreciate you for taking the time to look through this, and I hope this is a help and a blessing for you. Have a great day. Take care and be blessed.